I want to take a moment to address some important conversations happening across the WNBA, including remarks made earlier this week by Napheesa Collier. First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Napheesa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them, and if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better, and I have to.
So Cathy Engelbert just pulled off the quickest 180 we've seen in sports PR all year. The same commissioner who once dismissed players' complaints is now out here acting like she's hosting a family reunion. Suddenly, she deeply cares about everyone. Sure, Cathy, sure. Do you really think this apology tour is heartfelt or just pure damage control? Let's be real. This might be the funniest turnaround since Ben Simmons swore he was fixing his jumper.
How great these players are on and off the court, how much they mean to our league, our fans, and our communities. If they don't feel that, I will do everything I can to change that. No one should ever doubt how deeply I care about this league, this game, and every single player who makes the WNBA what it is. So we value feedback, we listen to criticism, we remain committed to engaging in the difficult but necessary conversations that ultimately make us all stronger and better.
Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA, just went from dismissing false rumors and looking disappointed in players' criticism to suddenly standing on stage like everyone's favorite understanding aunt. You couldn't script this better. During her WNBA Finals press conference, what was meant to be a calm, polished address ended up feeling like a full-on rewrite of history. It's as if she forgot we all watched the last 2 weeks play out live. Let's rewind. 2 weeks ago, Napheesa Collier, one of the league's most respected voices, dropped a bomb on WNBA leadership, exposing alleged private remarks from Engelbert herself. Things like, only losers complain about refs, and players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the deal I got them. Yeah, that exploded online in seconds. And Cathy's first response, it read like something straight out of ChatGPT 0.5. I'm disheartened. Perspectives differ. That's not leadership. That's Control plus C corporate apology mode.
Star Napheesa Collier blasted WNBA leadership in her exit interview on Tuesday, accusing League Commissioner Cathy Engelbert of being, quote, negligent in her governance. A moment ago, CaitlinClark spoke on the matter. Take a listen.
First of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said, and I think the points she made were very valid.
Then things really unraveled when Sophie Cunningham spoke up, soon joined by stars like CaitlinClark, Breanna Stewart, and Elena Del Don. Suddenly, the entire league was united, calling out Engelbert's tone-deaf leadership. So what does Cathy do next? She strolls into the WNBA Finals press conference, delivers a 20-minute speech, and transforms into Mother Teresa. Suddenly, she deeply respects every player, cares about their safety, and promises a brand new State of the Game committee to fix officiating.
As it relates to officiating and gameplay on the court, we hear the concerns, we take them seriously. Our game is faster, featuring more talent, and the game is more competitive than ever before. And with that evolution, game rules, interpretation, and officiating has to keep pace. Every major sport goes through this. Rules evolve, officiating adapts, standards shift. Alongside the growth of the game, the WNBA is no different. At the conclusion of the season, as we do every year, the league's competition committee will meet to evaluate the state of the game, which includes game rules, officiating, and player safety on the court.
Right. The same officiating problem players have been shouting about all season. But now, suddenly, it's a top priority. not because Cathy had a sudden burst of empathy, but because everyone's officially had enough. It's wild how fast "we're doing fine" turned into "we're carefully listening to players' concerns and the perspectives of various stakeholders."
Eyes. There are no greater stakeholders than our players. Their voice is integral to the alignment that is required for good officiating, and we look forward to including their perspectives on how our staff can better serve the game moving forward. So through the Competition Committee and the State of the Game Committee I've mentioned, we will take a hard look at what the proper line should be for good, aggressive play that we recognize has evolved into rough play, and how to calibrate the line for legal and illegal contact to ensure player safety and exciting competition.
That's not growth. That's survival mode. And honestly, this press conference was a masterclass in how to fake accountability without ever saying, "I messed up." Let's unpack it. She kicks things off talking about the finals, the Aces versus the Mercury, the 29th WNBA Finals. Big moment for the league, right? She tosses around buzzwords like resilience, togetherness, and belief. Nice words, sure, but completely irrelevant to what's really going on. Then, out of nowhere, she shifts to the important conversations happening across the league. Translation: she finally realized the internet has been roasting her nonstop for 2 weeks. She says, "I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league, and I personally do not care about them." Cathy, some players? You mean practically every player who's spoken to the media this month? Then comes, "If the players don't feel appreciated, then I have to do better." Oh, so now you care? After calling Collier's comments inaccurate, after brushing it all off as clickbait, this entire 180 feels like watching a politician suddenly care about public schools right before election season. And then she tried to sound emotional. "I'm human too. I have a family. My kids were devastated by these comments." Oh no, not the "I have kids" defense. The second she said it, you could almost hear the collective eye roll from players everywhere. Because while Cathy's kids were devastated, CaitlinClark was out there getting slammed to the floor without even a whistle. And here's where it gets truly ironic. Cathy Engelbert announces she's forming a multi-stakeholder task force called the State of the Game Committee. Asterisk sounds impressive, right? Until you realize it's just another way of saying, we're forming a committee to talk about forming another committee. You know the league's in trouble when the solution to bad leadership is asterisk more Zoom meetings. Asterisk, and then came the cherry on top. Her comment about CaitlinClark was the real showstopper. The same Cathy who allegedly told Nafisa Collier that Caitlin should be grateful for the platform now suddenly wants everyone to know how deeply she respects Clark, how she listens to players and values their feedback. Now she's out here praising Caitlin's impact, calling her a major part of our success story. Oh, so now it's a success story? 2 weeks ago, it was all "don't mischaracterize our leadership." This right here is what we mean by a full 180. She spent months ignoring criticism, brushing off officiating issues, and staying silent about Caitlin's treatment. Now she's acting like the league's biggest ally. She even said she's inviting player voices to help define what good officiating means. That's almost funny, because players have been yelling about this since May. But now that the finals are here, and the league's image is crashing, suddenly it's a priority. Timing really is everything. But let's be fair, Cathy's not clueless. She's a former Deloitte CEO. She understands optics. She knows when to pivot. This is a rebrand, an attempt to shift from cold executive to empathetic leader. The problem? The players aren't buying it, because actions speak louder than carefully written speeches. Sophie Cunningham even said she's tired of the league being run by business people who don't understand basketball. And she's right. Cathy's a numbers person, great with spreadsheets, terrible with locker rooms. You can't lead athletes like you're running a quarterly review. You can't tell CaitlinClark to be grateful and then wonder why players don't trust you. And that's why this whole apology tour feels like theater. The audience knows it's scripted, but they'll still clap to be polite. Even ESPN reporters weren't buying it. Malika Andrews asked her directly, "Did you really say players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars?" Cathy's answer? There's a lot of inaccuracy out there. In other words, no denial, just the classic fake news dodge. Then she added, "I've texted Nafisa. We're talking next week." "You mean after the finals?" "After 2 weeks of PR damage control. Perfect timing." And when asked if she still believes she's the right person to lead the league, Cathy simply said, "I've never been a quitter." Leadership always rises to the top, or at least that's what Cathy wants us to believe. You can almost hear Stephen A. Smith yelling from another studio, "Asterisk, that was the most corporate answer I've ever heard." Asterisk Cathy's playbook is clear. Deny the problem, sprinkle in some leadership cliches, and hope the storm blows over. But it won't. Not when players like CaitlinClark are publicly backing Nafisa Collier, saying her points were valid. Not when Sophie Cunningham is openly hinting at a lockout. Not when fans are roasting the league for being more dramatic than Asterisk Love Island. Asterisk, and definitely not when stars like Brianna Stewart and Aya Wilson stay silent, because silence from MVPs usually means they've stopped defending you. Let's be fair, Cathy Engelbert's early success was real. Before CaitlinClark, she did help stabilize the WNBA, bringing in sponsors, improving media deals, and keeping the league alive through COVID. But she's not the reason the WNBA is booming now. CaitlinClark is, and Cathy knows it. That's why this entire 180 happened. She realized she can't afford to lose the one player who made the WNBA matter to mainstream America. It's almost poetic. Before Caitlin, Cathy's press conferences barely made headlines. Now, every word she utters trends within minutes. That's power, but it doesn't belong to her anymore. Even players who aren't Clark's biggest fans admit she's transformed the league financially. Attendance, viewership, merch, everything's up. So when Cathy's old "be grateful" attitude leaked, it didn't just sound out of touch. It made her look jealous of the very player she should be celebrating. And now, she's twisting herself into verbal gymnastics, trying to sound like a mentor when everyone knows it's just damage control. She even threw in lines like, "We owe it to the players, the fans, and the next generation." Nice speech, but too bad it came after months of ignoring those exact same players. And the funniest part, Cathy still couldn't resist taking credit. In her speech, she said, "We've made incredible progress. We've expanded our footprint." Lady, that footprint expanded because CaitlinClark walked in with an army of fans. It's like taking credit for the rain after someone else turned on the sprinkler. Here's the truth. Cathy Engelbert's trying to rewrite her legacy before it collapses. She wants to be remembered as the visionary leader who guided the WNBA through change, not the commissioner who lost her players' trust. But this press conference made one thing painfully clear. The players aren't scared to call her out anymore. CaitlinClark didn't even have to say much. Just saying valid points was enough. That's the kind of calm confidence Cathy wishes she had. Right now, every time she speaks, it feels like pure damage control. Every quote sounds like it was pre-approved by 3 lawyers and a PR team. And it's honestly hilarious, because the harder she tries to sound warm and relatable, the colder she comes off. It's like watching a robot apologize for stepping on someone's foot. She even wrapped things up by thanking her staff, calling them the best team in women's sports. A neat bow on a speech that fooled no one. You can't help but laugh, because while Cathy's busy thanking her office staff, her players are out here publicly questioning whether she should even keep her job. That's not leadership. That's denial with a smile. And honestly, this whole saga might backfire spectacularly. The more Cathy tries to clarify her comments, the worse she looks. The players don't want another carefully written speech. They want accountability. They want fair pay, better officiating, and a commissioner who can actually talk to them without sounding condescending. Right now, Cathy's version of leadership is like trying to put out a house fire by complimenting the wallpaper. Too little, too late. So yes, her 180 has been hilarious to watch, but it's also sad because all of this could have been avoided if she just listened earlier. Instead, she let her ego take the wheel. Now she's pretending the issue was miscommunication when it was really arrogance all along. And until that changes, no committee or press conference is going to fix the WNBA's credibility problem. So yeah, Cathy Engelbert's 180 made for great comedy, but it also proved something bigger. The players now control the narrative, not her. And honestly, that's how it should be. The funniest part, Cathy's still trying to play both sides. Point 1 minute she's defending herself against misquotes, and the next she's quoting the same players she ignored for months. It's like watching someone argue with their own reflection. Even the media's over it. Reporters are treating her pressers like stand-up specials. Not because she's funny, but because every answer sounds like a rehearsed punchline. We're listening to feedback. And we value our players just makes her sound more disconnected. And the timing couldn't be worse. Fans are watching closely. CaitlinClark might be injured, but she's still dominating headlines. The WNBA is finally in the spotlight for something other than low attendance, and this was Cathy's chance to lead. Instead, she gave us a corporate PowerPoint in human form. At this point, if Cathy really wants to win people back, she doesn't need more committees. She needs honesty. Fans don't want another memo. They just want someone who actually gets it. So what do you think? Is Cathy Engelbert truly changing, or just panicking before she loses her job? Because right now, that "I care deeply" speech feels less like leadership and more like a desperate PR move. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you think CaitlinClark's silence